Thank you for coming to the first session of this second day. Hopefully you're all in the right theatre and you can see what the subject is, which is content marketing, focused a bit more around B2B actually, so we can have more of a B2B conversation this morning. And I titled it Understanding the Paradigm Shift in Thinking, intentionally, because it does require a different shift of the marketeer's brain to get your head around it, firstly, but then also to actually do it and deploy it. Just a little bit about myself so you know why I'm talking to you. There's some details of how you could get hold of me and link in with me, if you like, on Twitter and LinkedIn. I've luckily got an unusual name, so I'm fairly easy to find. But just to give you a bit of background, I'm a practitioner in marketing communication strategy and also a trainer in marketing. I spent 14 years of my career in integrated agencies and was a board director and deputy MD. I'm on the faculty of the CIM and I do a lot of training for them. And actually there's a sheet on most of your chairs because I launched last year a content marketing course for the CIM. So although this is a power half hour, I could actually talk to you for a couple of days on this subject because I train in it and I show businesses how to actually embark on that journey and deliver that new type of marketing. Hopefully I'll leave you time for a few questions at the end. And actually I'm here all day and I'll tell you where I'm going to end up. So if you did want to come and find me and ask me another question or two, you're more than welcome. I thought it would be worthwhile just putting some sound bites of some things that you might be thinking about. You might be actually asking what actually is content marketing, so I can help you there. You might be thinking, why is it hot? Because it certainly is getting talked about a lot. How could you as a business benefit? Could it actually impact your bottom line? Why does it really need a shift in thinking? And also, do you need new skills, to actually embark on this thing? I'll move around so that everyone can sort of see the slides. I thought I'd give you a definition. There are lots of them out there, and this one's a good one actually, by Joe Pullitzin. It basically sets up what content marketing is. It's how a brand creates, delivers, and governs original and curated content to attract and retain customers, positioning the brand as a credible expert and ultimately motivating a change in behavior. So if you went and took that as your vision for content marketing, if you decided as a business to go for it, that would be a really good vision to have, because it sets up your stall of what you actually want to achieve. Why is it such a hot topic? It's been around for a few years, and it is certainly powered by social media and what social media is enabling in terms of the sharing and passing on of this valuable, hopefully, content and information and intel. It's got traction now. Why I'm here today, why courses are filling up with people on them, why businesses are talking about it, because it has got traction and businesses are now beginning to do more of it, especially in B2B. Because it does actually drive thought, leadership and credibility for your business. Because actually, and I come to talk about this later, what you can do on your website is actually quite limited. And I think we get overexcited about our website, think it's the Holy Grail, think people are going to come to it and pore over it and read loads of pages and get really excited. And actually, websites are hygiene factors a lot of the time now. And you have to think a lot more broadly. You have to think more carefully about how you're actually really going to engage with your prospects and your customers and almost step off the pedestal in terms of thinking that you've got a fantastic website and think that's just not going to be enough by itself these days. Also, it can help you drive better quality leads and lower cost leads into your business, content marketing, when it works. There's the X factor of peer-generated content. So if I share something with a colleague about something that's relevant, there's the kind of credibility factor that comes with that. My colleague believes me, so if I'm sharing that with them, there's some extra credibility that comes with it, rather than the brand just pushing and pushing its stuff at people and hoping that they believe them and think, wow, I love this company. You need other people to be talking about you and loving you too. It gets you found. You know, a big topic actually is around SEO and how SEO is developing. Actually, content marketing can get your business found outside of the normal ways in which you would be found. So you can actually get hold of more people. It could give you competitive advantage because potentially your competitors aren't doing it yet. So you could actually get first mover advantage and steal a bit of room in that market. Or you could actually be playing catch up and thinking, I've got to get on the bandwagon because other people are doing it too. We hear about content being king. And I think it is king. It needs to be timely. It needs to be relevant. It is a hot topic. But it could also be the future of SEO strategy. I'm sure that a lot of you heard about on-page and off-page optimization and how Google and other engines are actually working out what to serve us in our SERPs pages. And you know, a lot of people are now thinking that actual on-page optimization is actually attributing to much less results. And you need to actually have loads of links into great content to drive your credibility so that you are found by the people that you need to connect with. And if you're still in any doubt, the amount of search that's going on the subject of content marketing is going up. And the amount of people that are saying, or businesses, that they are going to increase the amount of content marketing they do, 50, 60, 70, 80% of businesses surveyed are saying they're going to increase the amount of content marketing they are going to be doing. So people are thinking about this and taking it very seriously. Why in B2B, and why is B2B maybe different to B2C? There are a few reasons, and I don't know if some of you empathise with these, but in the B2B process, typically, there isn't quite so much of a uniformity of offer. And the speed of the sales process can actually be quite long. You can be in that cycle with a prospect for quite a long time. They might actually not be in the cycle with you. They might be in their cycle, but you're not with them yet. So there's this opportunity cost of if you can't engage with them early, you might not get onto the radar in the first place. There are a number of decision makers involved. The process of buying isn't that simple. You know, you get really rubbishy leads sometimes from marketing. Sales complain. You know, the quality of the actual leads is so important. The role of emotion is different. You know, it's different from buying a pair of Prada shoes or a handbag than actually going and buying a piece of software. It's a completely different emotional decision. And obviously the value of the sale. You know, and I did a piece of work for a client recently, and we put a piece of software into the business, and they got a £500,000 sale from one tiny little thing that they did. So, you know, we can have some big gains by doing some things better. This stat varies depending on who you talk to and what sector you're in and what business. But the thought out there right now is that 70% or more of the buying cycle is actually completed before somebody chooses to interact with you as a business. They're doing a whole load of work, researching, talking, looking at forums, and they haven't actually said hello to you. Big risk of that is that they don't. They never do. You never hear from them. They go and make their decision without you. And so content marketing is an opportunity to correct that. I'm going to keep my watch with me so I don't run over. Another big one, actually, is the opportunity that you have to actually talk to more people. So if your SEO is working really well, you might think you're able to talk to, you're visible to and able to talk to quite a few of your potential prospects. But with content marketing, you actually extend and broaden your opportunity because you can start to appear through social optimization in lots of different environments, in digital environments, within Twitter, within LinkedIn. Your blog can actually get loads of subscribers to it. So you're actually pushing your message out further and further than your actual assets, your initial SEO and your paid for advertising could ever hope to achieve. So you can have the X factor of your actual strategies and grow the number of leads you're getting into your business. I focus a lot about acquisition here, and I make no apology for it because I think it's a really important thing for B2B businesses, is how do I get more and more, better and better, higher quality leads into my business, and actually once I've got them, there's a whole new subject of how do I convert them. But, you know, key is how do I actually get onto the radar of these people to start a meaningful conversation? And actually, as you know, because we're all consumers as well, we're a bit hesitant to talk quickly, aren't we? We don't want to be sold to. We want to kind of get comfortable first. We want to feel happy about a company, and then the conversation is much easier for us and actually easier for the company too. So content marketing is a way to try to do that. Depending on who you talk to, and there's certainly evidence of this, paid for advertising is getting more and more expensive. Now, I think everyone would agree with that, yeah? PPC advertising, banner advertising, digital advertising generally, it's getting more and more expensive. It's getting harder and harder to get those leads actually into the business at a price that you think is reasonable and actually doesn't kill your return on investment, your ROI. The opportunity with content marketing is cheaper leads, because once you set your content up, once you start to disseminate it into the bigger world, it becomes free. Because those that connect with it, those that share it, those that pass it on are doing your job for you, and you're not paying for it. So imagine that a lead comes in, the new term, inbound marketing, and you haven't actually paid for that lead yourself. They didn't respond to a PPC ad. They saw a link on Twitter and they thought, I'm going to click on that. They downloaded a piece of content and thought, that's really interesting. They then decide to form fill. You now know about them. They came inbound to you. You didn't pay for that. And if you talk to HubSpot, I've got the number here, they say that now, as of today, 75% of their leads are inbound. They're not purchased through advertising. They also say that an inbound lead costs them $135. So if you think about the cost of content marketing, for example, to actually write the white papers, to do the distribution in the first place, $135. If they pay for a lead, $346. So over twice as much to actually get a paid lead into your business than a content marketing inbound lead. To even add to that, they say they get a 3 times better conversion rate on an inbound lead. I can believe that because the prospect has come to them. They've already pre-engaged, they've already read some content, they're actually already interested. So it makes sense, doesn't it? And I've spoken to people who've bought software, for example, who say they somehow start to look at the content, they get interested by it, they're thinking, I find that really fascinating. Before you know it, they've bought it. And I've said, how many vendors did you go to? And they said, we forgot. Because we were so into the content and we started reading more things and they started talking to us, we bought it. We actually didn't look around. And so you can actually stop the competition getting a look in because you've already begun the conversation and the dialogue. And effectively, you beat the competition to the prospect. Fundamental. And sometimes in the beginning of a course, this penny drops and people go, oh damn, we need to think differently. Content marketing is not generic. It's not a broad brush to everybody. It's persona-based. It's based on understanding the attributes of your key customers that you want to target. It's about developing a persona of your key audience and thinking, what are their issues? What are their problems? What are their challenges? How am I going to connect with that person? Simple little example. You're selling one product, but you've got a senior marketing manager, who I'm sure some of you are. You've got an IT director, who probably not a lot of you are, coming into a talk today like this. Do you think they respond to the same things? Do you think they're searching for the same things? Do you think they're interested in the same things? I don't think so. So actually, if they are both critical audiences for you, you need different content for both. Simple. Or you have to focus all of your energies on one persona and try them out first. But you have to be customer and prospect focused. You can't be product focused at this point, because they're not thinking about product, they're thinking about solutions. They're thinking about their problems and their challenges and their issues. They're having a completely different conversation in your mind than the one that you might think you want to have with them. That's why the paradigm shift in thinking is so important to get here. Another sort of tip is that you have an opportunity to map content to the prospect journey. So you wouldn't start with features and benefits, would you? With the first thing you say. Look at all these features we've got. They can't translate those features into whether it works for them as a business. It's too early. It's premature. It will put them off. So at the acquire stage, when you're acquiring their attention, what you actually need to do is think of really valuable, value-added, really vital things that they just can't do without. And it's counter-intuitive. So if you take this example, Eloqua, who are doing a free guide to selecting a marketing automation system, you might say, hang on a minute, this company are teaching their potential customers about the competition. This can't be a good thing. Can't be a good thing. They're actually saying, look, there are loads of us out there. Go and look at us all. So you might think, well, we're never going to do that. But actually, what does it do? It says thought leadership. People are more likely to click on that. They're actually paying for that. That's a paid-for ad, by the way. And once you download that guide, or whatever it is, you've got their data. So they can then start the conversation. And although those prospects now know who the other vendors are, the other vendors don't know who they are, because they've just said, hello, Eloqua. So that's what happens at the acquire stage. Once you've acquired them, absolutely critical is you need to give them reasons to give some data to you. This is the value exchange. And it's not a 30-page questionnaire for nothing, because we say sod off to that, don't we? We're like, I'm not giving you all this information for no good reason. But if the content is really valuable, people think, I'll give that a go. That's worthwhile. That's worth an email address and telling them how many employees I've got or whatever. That's worth it. Once they're participating, once you've got the dialogue going, once they're engaged, this is the time that maybe you switch to features and benefits, or benefits first. You get more into the product here. The story is more about your product or your service. It's more about helping them at this point to make a decision. And although this isn't linear, at some point they're happy to share. At some point they're happy to spread the word. Colleagues within their own business, colleagues outside of their business. And so you create the loop. So it's important to think about what you do when. Very important. And by the way, in a day's course I say this, so many people start with, I think we need a blog. I think we need 12 articles. I think we should be on YouTube. That's tactics. If any of you are going, uh-oh, I think that's us, that leads you down a very dead end, because it's tactical. It's not built on a strategy. You have to think all these things through really carefully and plan it out. We can't talk about this in detail today, but I like to say there are 3 pillars of content marketing. There's what the hell you're talking about and who's writing it. Bad news to get the 18-year-old graduate in your organization to write your content when he doesn't know anything about it, you know? So who's going to write it is really important. What format you're doing it in. Is it a white paper? Is it a video? Is it an infographic? And then how the hell are you going to distribute it? How are you going to get it out there to people? How are you going to do that? So you have to think these things through in advance. And you don't want to be waking up on a Monday morning and think, damn, I've got a post to write. What shall I write on? Because it's going to be about your roast dinner, isn't it? And whether you burnt the potatoes, because that's what you did on Sunday. It's not going to be something that's relevant. And really important, your keyword research and how you optimize your content socially. Because I'm afraid at the end of the day, you can write content on what the hell you like. But if it's not the subjects, the issues, the challenges, the problems that your customers or prospects have got, they aren't going to look for it, they aren't going to find it, and they aren't going to read it. So you have to do your homework and work out, what are people looking for? And it's not just any old content. I've kind of set that up already, but you've got to put thought into it. It doesn't necessarily have to tick every box and big prizes for someone who's writing content that does all these, but it needs to be of a high quality. It does have to drive credibility. It's got to create some trust with your organisation. There needs to be an idea in it, ideally. It's got to be relevant, timely. It's got to feel like it's the right time for them. Engaging, shareable, the list could go on, yeah? It's a long list that we need to try to tick. And I thought I'd throw some other thoughts in here, because when you think outside of your website, outside of what you've been doing already, you have the opportunity to get a bit more of your brand personality out there and to loosen up a little bit and actually be a bit more friendly or a bit more informal and actually get your brand across, because you haven't got a webmaster saying you can change that content on your website in 3 weeks. And does it meet the guidelines? And 7 people have got to sign it off. And I don't know if PR will be happy. And the MD doesn't like that. You know, you can get around the constraints of this corporate emotionless brand and start to extend some personality. Because even though we're in B2B, businesses buy people. They don't buy objects, they buy people. And so our opportunity from content marketing is to connect at that slightly more emotional level and resonate. A couple of examples, just a couple. Cisco, I think what Cisco do really well is they have created a huge amount of content in social channels. And they've created a social site which makes it really easy for you to go and find that social stuff. Because there is no engine to find brands on Twitter. There's no place to go to really find the social assets of companies. So they've put it all in one home called Social at Cisco. And you can see here the list of all their blogs, all their Twitter feeds, all their Facebook pages. So they've made it really easy for you. And I think that's a nice little tip that some brands would like to deploy. Open Forum by American Express. This is content. This is a forum for small businesses to interact with each other and for thought leaders to help them with their businesses. This has got over 1 million visitors a month now. It's completely value added. But what do you think it does for the brand message of American Express? Back to that one of I pay £500 for my really nice platinum card. Oh, but there's all this sexy stuff that they do too. It's kind of counterbalancing that American Express are expensive, and do I really want to work with them? A B2C example for any B2C people who are in the room, My Starbucks Idea, a website just for idea generation. And this is user generated. So customers can come on, share ideas, vote for ideas, discuss ideas, and then Starbucks launch them. How great is that? Actually letting our customers help us design our products and services, because they're the ones using them, they're the ones that want them, and they've got a good idea of what to do. So it's just a lovely, nice idea, all done in the Starbucks way. And then a bit bland, but Aviva, who have decided to do a survey of GPs twice a year. Why? Because they want to try and step out of just being corporate and give something back and show that maybe they've got some sense beyond just selling corporate insurance. This is something I drew about a year ago, and I keep referring to it. Don't look at it and think you can't change it and this is fixed. But it's just to help you plan. That if you think of creating a content ecosystem for your organisation, so making it quite a serious thing for you, there are 4 basic things to think about. What the hell are we going to talk about? And when are we going to do it and plan it in? What format should we do it in? How should we publish it out? How should we get it out there? Twitter, whatever. And are we creating each time? Because it's not necessarily about creating every time. You can recreate, you can curate. You don't have to think I need new content every day, because there's a lot of life in existing content. In a B2B business, I would say 90% of the time, a blog should be the hub for your content. The place that your content comes together in, the place that you push your content out from, the place that you talk about your content, even if it might be white papers off the side of your blog. If you're in B2C, it could be Facebook. But actually in B2B, I think a blog is such an important and vital, searchable, friendly, interesting, relevant place to tell your stories. And I think as consumers, we're now being educated to think that a blog is a place to go for more information than I'd find on a website. So it's self-fulfilling as a prophecy. And you could map yours out and put the content in that you want around the edges of what you're actually going to do. And you make this your own. This is mine. This is hypothetical. You make it your own. And it's your ecosystem. It's how you know what to do when you wake up on a Monday morning. I've got to reissue that survey and change 5 questions. And I'm going to turn it into a SlideShare deck, and I'm going to do a webinar. That's how you know what to do, because you plan. And don't forget, content marketing is about understanding specific audiences' needs and then answering them. It's not generic and it's not broad brush. It's relevant, it's timely, and it's there to help drive understanding. And by the way, Rome wasn't built in a day. This isn't something you tick, and it's not something you give to some poor single person in an organization and say, I'm giving you the title Content Marketing Manager, off you go, change the world. This is something an organization has to adopt, to think about as being a good idea and work out how to do properly. One resource that's worth looking at, 5 minutes that is, so that's good timing. If you go on to Content Marketing Institute, there are 100 examples of content marketing there. So I stole 3 of those or 2 of those ideas from there. Feel free to go and have a look yourselves, because we don't recreate the wheel. We recreate the wheel, don't we? We actually don't do new things all the time. We beg and we borrow and we steal. And I certainly make no apology for that in marketing. I think that's a damn good idea, because if someone's doing it well, I can give it a little twist, give it a little turn, and use it myself. So don't be afraid to go and look for really good content marketing examples and make them work for your business.